So let's take a look at it, shall we again? There's the restaurant entrance. There's a notice about the property on the door. You can read the info by pausing the video. This is the vestibule you're seeing right now. There are two red boats inside after that door. There's some kind of event happening at a high school here. It has some history about the restaurant company and its founder. A guy named Ron Berquist grew up fascinated by the restaurant business. At age 7, he would visit his mother at her workplace where waitresses were given milkshakes and snacks. When he was 10, he moved to Eagle Point in southern Oregon. Years later, he went to work with someone he knew who made restaurant equipment. This experience further shaped his interest in the industry. By age 13, Ron left home, and his school principal suggested he consider horticulture. He later attended Benson Polytechnic High School in Portland to study horticulture, combining his passion for restaurants with design. He began running restaurants and designing buildings, and he always wanted a restaurant that looked good from every direction. There are empty pie boxes on both sides, as you can see. The pie display case is empty. Anyway, at some point, he fell in love with a lady named Shari, and they eventually married. The couple had lived in this area since 1974 and previously operated a Blue Bucket restaurant. In 1978, Ron and Sharon Berquist opened the first Shari restaurant right here, naming it after Sharon. She chose her name because she was the best cook, and he worked closely with the restaurant logo. He felt proud because he told the story of Shari in the beginning of the chain. Ron expanded the restaurant into additional locations over the years in several states. Eventually, Ron and Sharon's marriage ended in divorce. Some people describe Sharon as a sweet lady, while Ron was often described as rude. In 1985, Ron sold the chain to Stride America when it had 34 locations and was generating roughly $30 million in annual sales. The company changed hands again in 1992 when it was acquired by the Hermiston Financial Group, and later in 1999 by Fairmont Capital Inc. for $60 million. Some Shari restaurants in the United States began closing in the 1990s, which many believe was due to poor management, and Ron was often blamed for this problem. At its peak, the chain had 120 restaurants, each featuring a signature 4,000 square foot hexagonal design. The layout was intended to maximize window space while minimizing the distance between the boats in the kitchen. The restaurants also featured high-back booths to provide added privacy and reduce noise. In 2006, the chain was purchased for a reported $80 million by a group of restaurant investors led by Circle Peak Capital LLC. Throughout the years, Shari's leadership remained relatively stable. Larry Curtis served as president for 24 years, from 1984 until his retirement in 2008. He was succeeded by Bruce McDermott, who previously worked with Black Angus Steakhouse. The final CEO was Samuel Verghese, who had worked with the company since late 2017. His leadership ultimately led to Shari's downfall. The chain struggled with unpaid bills, back taxes, and eviction notices, including over $100,000 owed to the Oregon Lottery. Locations across Oregon and the Northwest began closing, and eventually all remaining Shari's locations in Oregon shut down for good. This area to the right used to be the real poker section where they had 6 slot machines. Before that, was served by additional dining space. We're behind the building. That's a classic as a door from the 80s, I believe. It looks sick. Over here to your dumpster area. Got 2 black barrels filled with trash. This brown door leads to the kitchen. The door handle looks pretty beat up. There's a ladder hanging on the left. Weird. Anyway, before Shari's was closing, the restaurants were understaffed, leading to slow service, including at this location. Today, only about 10 Shari restaurants remain outside of Oregon and states such as Washington, Idaho, and California. As of now, they continue to struggle. I read somewhere online that Sharon regretted letting Ron sell the restaurant company. Is Shari and Ron still alive today? I wonder how they felt when they found out Shari had had the organ. I remember back in 2023 when I went to my local Shari's, the service was slow and my poop portion was small. Then on a few other nights I had dreams that more Shari's locations were closing and eventually all of them went out of business. I can't believe my dream sadly almost became a reality since there are still a few Shari's left in other states like I said before. I never thought that someday most of them would be gone. Although I have wondered several years ago what would happen if my local Shari's ended up closing in the future. I'm sure other people in this area who have been coming here for many years felt sad when they heard about the closure. If anyone has particular memories of this location, please share them in the comment section. It's hard to believe that Oregon used to have 45 Shari's over the decades. I know they have closed 3 locations years before the rest went under in the state. The first one in Wrestling closed in 2018. The second in Hood River shut down in early 2019, and the third on Northwest Corner Road in Portland went out of business in 2020. If those 3 restaurants still remain open until 2024, they likely would have gone out of business as well. I miss Shari sometimes. The empty storefront across the road obviously used to be raided, which I'll check out soon. Anyway, in case you're wondering what happened to the 3 old Shari's I just mentioned, they are no longer vacant. The Wrestling location was torn down in 2019 for a dentist's office. The Hood River one became a bar in the same year, and the Northwest Corner Road location was demolished in 2021 to make a way for a Chase Bank. In Washington, there used to be a lot of Shari's, and some of them closed between the late 2000s and early 2010s. Most of them were torn down, and only a few remained standing under different businesses. I wasn't expecting to see a lot of things left behind here. I honestly thought the inside was going to be cleared out. I can't believe the original Shari's is closed. It really should have stayed open since it's such a historic spot in Hermiston. Aside from that, I don't know if this building is for sale. The bus station is on the left. I don't know if there's some dirty place in a container. There are a lot of paper drawings on the wall. Interesting. By the way, I actually saw this restaurant in person back in summer 2024 when I was heading to Idaho. It was very early in the morning and I couldn't tell if they were open yet since there were barely any cars in the parking lot. I haven't known this particular location for years through Google. I always wonder if there was ever a plaque inside that mentioned the origins of Shari's. I tried looking through interior photos online but had no luck. Maybe they were worn way back then, or maybe they never had one at all. Either way, I could be wrong. I just hope this old Shari doesn't end up being torn down, or else it'll be a huge loss for the community. I'm tired of seeing good buildings get demolished. It's ridiculous, in my opinion. Hate the fact that majority of Shari's are covering windows. So annoying, haha. Wish that wasn't the case. Hopefully a new restaurant takes over this spot in the near future. A mom and pop diner would be an excellent choice, don't you agree? I'm sure the people living here will appreciate that. I would definitely support the idea as well. And as you can see, the former Shari's is located in a shopping center. Check this one out. I think that was the original Shari's pylon sign. There was a mini garden here as well. Looks like it was a big pylon sign upgrade. The logo is definitely old school. It's got to be from the 90s. Whoa, take a look at this. Parts of the signage are still being lit up. Crazy. And that'll be it. That's gonna wrap up the video. Make sure to like, comment, and share. Thanks for watching. And until next time, see you on your side.